the topic for today's video.
Hey guys,
Hi guys. No, that's just corny.
welcome
Welcome to my YouTube channel.
to a video about
STD.
making good out of bad.
Making good out of bad. Yeah, I wonder how much they'll pick up.
Now, there's a quote that says, "If you only look at the thorns of the roses, you'll miss the flower part."
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people spend a lot of their time looking at all the problems and the reasons they have to be mad. Like, you could look at us right now. You know, we're in the butt crack of Bryce Canyon. Can't find a campsite. Can't start fire because the wood's wet. No matter what we try, we brought steaks. We can't cook them. We're both kind of broke, and you know, there's an excuse for everything. But I think the more you spend time in the bad, you miss a lot of the good. You miss a lot of the blessings in life. You know, I'd much rather be out here than doing nothing at home.
Yeah. I think honestly, if we weren't out here, I'd probably be out eating like donuts or something bad.
Yeah. But what memory does that make? You know.
I think some of my most memorable moments were like idiotic ideas and like technically dumb choices, but it kind of like spice up life.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one time I was in a dress in the back of a truck was a good example. Not my brightest choice, but definitely with something I'll look back on. Yeah. It wasn't like a day I'm gonna forget.
No, see, in those, I think you can look back and laugh.
Yeah.
At those days too. I think bad days and bad times lead to good stories and future good times. When you can joke around with your buddies, as long as you're not dead, you know.
Yeah, that's a good thing to add in.
Yeah, I mean,
fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Life really is a lot about perspective and the way you treat it, because the way you treat life is the way life will treat you.
The energy you give is what you get back.
Yeah. The energy you give is what you get back. So if you constantly think in a negative context, you're gonna resent life. You're gonna hate a lot of things, and I think a lot of people won't want to be around you either. And your brain's only gonna look for the negative things that happen to you.
It's always gonna find the negative.
Yeah. I don't know. Have you had times? Have you seen a change in perspective growing up? In having days where you only focus on negative versus days you only focus on positive?
Yeah. I think especially when I was younger, like during middle school, I would go out and like to Antelope Island, like places that are relatively pretty outdoors, and I would like, oh, my feet hurt, oh, I'm sore, oh, the food's bad, the sun's hot, no, it's too cold, and I'd never focus on like the present moment of being in this cool and awesome place, this environment that I'm not normally in, just because I wasn't comfortable, because I wasn't in the right temperature or on my couch. And I think changing that personality and that perspective just brought so much joy. I think even in my worst days, I'm happier than my best days back then.
That's true. It's I found it for me, especially in hard times. It's hard to focus on those good moments. You know, when you're depressed, when you feel like your trials never end, and you need comfort, it's hard to keep a perspective of what blessings really are around you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people become resentful because they've given up on looking for those positive aspects or happy areas of life, because they give up. And it's hard. It's a hard life. There's a lot of bad things. There's a lot of things to be angry at, but there's also a lot of things to be happy about. And keeping that perspective is probably also why you find success, so you have more to be grateful for. Like being on Antelope, and your feet hurt and you want to resent everything. But then you look back, you've grown up, you've become better as a person, and you didn't kind of give up on the pain. Now, now we're in a spot that's probably way less accommodating than Antelope Island.
Yeah. What from my experience, what I've seen with the people who are like extremely negative, like they do it to have a reason. Oh, appreciate it. To like put the blame on something else instead of them. They don't want to have or be at fault for their opinions and actions, and so it's like, oh no, the world's against me. No, this is bad. That's why I'm not happy. Rather than just like choosing to be more positive about what's happening.
Yeah, I think we judge ourselves internally on our intentions, but we judge everything else externally. This happened to me because of this, rather than this happened to me because I made a mistake, or I meant to do this, and so I can excuse myself for it. It like you said earlier, I think it leads to a lot of people having a lot of self-inflicted problems, because they aren't quite aware of their own bias in it.
Yeah.
When you're looking at life and you're looking at a lot of the problems, I think 90% of people would say, well, it's not my fault on at least some of the things in their life. They just said, oh, I was born this way, I was raised that way.
The same I was born that way is something I hear quite often. Yeah. That's just who I am. So it
just is what it is.
Yeah. They take away their accountability.
Yeah. They reject themselves before they even get the possibility. And it's the reason why so many people look so resentful and have so many negative outlooks in life. They'd probably much rather be doing what's comfortable or what's familiar to them. And then you wonder why things suck around you. Because you're not in a life where you're experiencing things. You're not in a life where it's worth finding things to look forward to. Because you're in the same old pattern, or you're in the same old habit that leads to that form of addiction or that negative outlook. And that's what a lot of those negative outlooks come from, is people self-inflicting and going back to what they use as a cope.
Yeah. What is a way you've brought more positivity and a better outlook in your own life?
I like looking to Christ. I feel like that's my main thing. I think 3 or 4 years ago, when I was at kind of a low point in life and was feeling kind of hopeless, the only thing that really separated that was kind of keeping an eye on Christ and keeping a mind single toward what He wants me to do. Because at the end of the day, if I had nobody else, I at least had that. I had something to fulfill and a purpose. And I think having a purpose is what keeps you positive. I think as long as you're driven and as long as you're doing what you feel like will find fulfillment in your life, then you will be able to keep going and you won't give up. And I think that adds an added benefit of just being more positive, being happier, being able to keep a positive perspective because you're focused on the positive rather than the negative. And that's another big thing is when you're focused on the positive versus the negative. If you keep saying to yourself, don't do this, then you're going to fixate on it. But if you're fully immersed on what drives you and what brings value to your life, based on your goals, you won't even fixate on it. It won't even cross your mind because you're just driven. And that's kind of how I found a lot of that happy, and it's through purpose or through whatever point I need to bring fulfillment. And for me, that's Christ. I don't know. How about you, Doug?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Um, I am a big fan of the "it is what it is" mentality. Actually, it's just how it be. Sometime, um, bad things are gonna happen regardless of what you do, even if you try your whole life to prevent it. So, making the most of what you got right now has
Yeah.
been beneficial for me, and just like knowing that the only thing you can control is yourself, and the outside circumstances shouldn't dictate your mood. I think if you like have those outside circumstances push you and hit you, you're always gonna be sad because there's always gonna be a reason to be mad or sad.
Yeah.
So finding that internal strength to control yourself, your emotions, and understand there's always something to be happy about, and there's more you can do.
It's true. Yeah.
I
There's
think
a
that,
lot
that
more life.
the thought of having more I can do has always been like powerful to me, and not always like because a lot of people sometimes think that they're out of control, they don't have any choice there, and most of the time it's kind of a coping mechanism, so they don't feel bad for not making that decision. But I think when you like take responsibility for what you can take and you do it and you really put that action there and make your life more positive through actions, it can give you a constant confidence and strength.
Yeah. I think too, once you put in the work and you're taking action after that first step, you realize actually how much control you do have. So many people get caught on the first step in the big picture, you know. Or you take the gym as the example, you know. Oh, I want to be big, but you know, there's so many little things I want to do. I can't lose weight, all these other things, you know. And then 15-year-old me kind of did it just for the love of it, and now you get to the point where it becomes success. I got to the level of competing in powerlifting because I got a chip in my throat. You just you find more horizons, you find more doors open, and you get better at what you do, and then it becomes easier and it becomes more fulfilling, and then it brings value. And I think as long as you keep it with the internal motivation of what drives you and what brings out the best version of yourself rather than external reasons like, you know, the gym as an example, to get girls, to mog, I don't know, to do things like that, you'll eventually burn out. But if you can really find one, accept that all the mistakes or many of the mistakes you make are your fault, and then notice and realize, then change your mindset and say, hey, I'm going to take accountability for what I want, and I have to change this, and this. And I get it's hard, and I'm not used to it, and I've never done it before. I've been bulking my whole life or something, you know, if you're fatter. But then you learn to change, and then it becomes so fulfilling that it doesn't feel like it's a chore. It feels fun. I think the better you get at stuff and the less you feel like you have to force yourself to try, and you can do things naturally. And I think doing that comes from an internal motivation that you become unstoppable almost. Because you started businesses and you're moving pretty quick. How what motivation do you have that's driving you toward that and driving you toward your success?
There's a bit. I I won't lie. I do think it's somewhat part driven by insecurity to become something. Because when I was younger, I felt a lot more smaller,
Mm.
and that scared me. So I wanted to do something that makes me bigger and stronger. And I think obviously that developed me into the gym, but I think that has gone outwards into my businesses. I'd like to gain control over my finances I mean, obviously, I think there's more positive things like that. Like, I love helping people. I
Mhm.
think the idea of charity and buying people food has also motivated me because I want to be that man, like someone could be looked up to, someone can help them out. Because I've had people help me out in times of challenges, who's given me money and who's given me food, and it helped out a lot.
Mhm.
And I kind of want to be that individual for someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, there's of course as that greedy lifestyle. Like, hey, I just want that like fancy car and that superficial things, but
There's value in joy. There's value in service. Things
Yeah.
like that. You had a blessing just from seeing, oh, I could be mad because your family was on welfare,
Yeah.
food stamps or things of the sort, and then you saw people came and helped you. Um, you just had to be patient, and that change in perspective alone gave you a purpose, and part of it, or a leading drive of motivation to want to be the best version of yourself, and um, rather than playing victim and blaming the world, you saw the example that others set for you, and then you drove forward and you utilized it. And you said, "Hey, I want to change. I want to become the best version. I'm not going to be inferior for myself because I know I can be better." And that's the taking accountability part. Is you admitted your weaknesses, you admitted um your imperfections, and then you didn't rationalize. You went straight forward, and then you looked at certain ways of of how to grow, and you stayed driven. You've always kind of had a drive in your life. You're a pretty ambitious person, but for the people who aren't ambitious, I think it's a good example. In the same way you followed an example, I think it's a good example for them. For people who want to change, for people who want to see the positives in their life. And I think the positives in life start now, not just always later, not until I get that fancy car or can donate to charity. I think it starts now. Where we kind of have nothing now, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. And it's because I'm doing things that I love, and I think people will really use that or see that as seeing those dark things, those dark imperfections. But they'll see the joy and the positive as they become more themselves. For sure.
that was really well put, actually.
So, yeah, you want to call it there?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
It was good, man.
Yeah, that's fine.
Be fun to listen back to.
I'm curious.